So there was this study that I recently read by Ramsey Solutions that said that money fights are the second leading cause of divorce. So today we're going to talk about how to manage finances in a marriage. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit more about this study that I read by Ramsey Solutions. I'll put a link also down for you to go look at this yourself if you want. But basically, high levels of debt and also a lack of communication were two major causes of financial stress. So it's not just having debt, but it's also not communicating about money or communicating about the debt. The more debt that couples had, the more they ended up fighting over money. This maybe seems obvious, but there's some sort of survey that shows it. And then couples with over $50,000 in debt tended to say that money was one of the main things that they ended up fighting about. So also in this survey, they looked at, okay, what about in really great marriages? What's going on with great marriages when it comes to money? So great marriages were twice as likely to talk about money on a daily and weekly basis compared to just okay marriages. The takeaway from this, transparency is one of the biggest skills needed for marriage, including when thinking about how to manage your finances as a couple in a marriage. So there are 3 ways of managing money in a marriage. You could do a completely joint account. That's certainly something a lot of people do. You could do completely separate accounts, which I've seen that a lot as well. And then you could do where you have a joint account and also separate accounts. Personally, for military couples, I usually recommend that they have at least one joint account. That way, if someone is deployed or something, there's a way to access money. So let's say you have separate accounts. You could put either a certain amount that you guys agree on or a percentage that you agree on into a joint account, and that could pay for joint expenses like the mortgage, the rent, the utilities, all of that sort of stuff. Or let's say that you predominantly have a joint account. You guys could do kind of the same thing in the reverse. Take a percentage or a set amount that you guys put into individual accounts every month. That is also really nice because, what if you want to get a surprise gift for your partner and you don't want them to see it on the bank account? This also gives people a little bit more of a sense of freedom. Like, I don't have to worry if I buy a Snickers bar at the gas station, right? Like, I don't know, something like that. So those are kind of the 3 broad ways of thinking about how you handle money in terms of, are they joint accounts, separate accounts, or sort of a mixture? The biggest skill that I think is really needed for a marriage is to decide on a budget together. You're coming into a marriage, you probably have very different spending habits and different styles and thoughts when it comes to saving money and investing money. It's normal for couples to feel differently and to not be completely aligned in what they would naturally do if they were single. So this is something that is important to discuss. Also, something that plays into this has to do with your relationship values and also your personal values. And I have 2 videos that go over how to know your relationship values and how to know your personal values that you can watch for more information. But based on all of that, you want to have a joint discussion where you decide together, how do we want to prioritize saving? How do we want to prioritize spending and what we spend money on? And then how do we want to prioritize investing? You also want to talk about how much money should be like free money versus at what point is this amount something that should be a joint couple decision. This also has to do with power and who gets to decide in relationships, which I haven't done a video yet, but it's going to be the next video that I do right after this video. So watch out for that to be made available soon. So who gets to decide in a relationship? That video is coming and it will help you with this decision. I think this one should be a joint decision that you guys make together. That's just my personal opinion. But, you know, is it $20? You know, that you could spend $20 and not have to consult your partner and it's totally fine? Or is that too much? $100? What about $500? $1,000? At what point does it cross the threshold where this should really be a joint couple decision versus an individual personal decision? And that might also vary based on, is it coming from you know, one of the, either the percentage or the amount that you guys allocated for your individual use for whatever you want, or is that for your joint couple money? The next step of working on a budget together. So you're sort of making choices together about how you're going to prioritize saving, spending, and investing. You're going to decide together what is the cutoff where it should really be a joint couple decision that we're making about money and how to spend it. The next thing is to create a budget. I have a template that you can use. I'm sure there are so many templates out there. You can use any template you want, but if you want the one that I have, you can see the description box and you can go and download that. So create a budget together, and then as part of your monthly meeting, see the video on how to do a monthly marriage meeting for more information on monthly marriage meetings. But when you do your monthly marriage meeting, make balancing the budget part of that meeting. The reason to make this part of that marriage meeting is that it helps really increase the feeling of transparency between the two of you. And again, transparency is one of the most important skills for marriage. It also helps you be on the same page and be able to work towards the same financial goals. One, to get to be on the same page about what your financial goals actually are, but then to work as a team to reach those financial goals. It also keeps you on track as a couple in regard to cash flow and making sure you have enough incoming money to know like what is coming in and what is going out and how are we choosing to have things go out. Balancing the budget during your marriage meeting also lets you check in on how you are progressing towards joint financial goals. Maybe things like buying a house, moving, having kids, like all of those things take a ton of money. And so you can check in both about how are we doing on the process of moving towards these goals during the typical marriage meeting part, but then also you'll be able to talk about the money piece together when you are balancing the budget. So my number one takeaway for you is to make a budget together. And again, you can download one from me in the description. All right, see you next time.